it's Gilbert here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do an oil change on an ND. This was 2019, so it's an ND2 Miata, along with some tricks and the Fumoto valve. I'll have the link in the description for it. How to put it in and how to adjust it so that it does not interfere with the plate underneath, and I'll show you some tricks on dealing with the plate. Okay, hopefully you can see this in the frame. It's not a lot of room, even on ramps. There's not a lot of room under these things, and especially when they're lowered. So there are 12 mil bolts that hold the pan on, but there's a little clip missing right here. And there's a reason for that. So what you want to do is break them all loose, remove the 3 on the front, 4 on the back. On these, so on this one, back it out till it has enough room to clear the edge here, but not all the way out. You're going to take this one over here on the driver's side, the left side. You're going to remove it while holding the pan up. And now you're going to slide it to the side, and that lets you bring it out easily. Now, that is not how you want it. Whoa, that's hot. So when you do your oil, you do want to warm it up to get everything, contaminants and stuff floating in the oil, and it will drain better. Don't burn yourself. Last time I changed the oil, I installed this Fumoto valve and couldn't get it placed where it wouldn't interfere. So I just put it up here, pointed it up out of the way so that it wouldn't interfere. And anyway, 17 mil is what fits that. I believe that the drain plug is also a 17 mil. So it didn't actually make a mess. I broke the 17 mil loose to where I could turn it down, point it down, and it did just a little bit of seepage there, but then I took and opened the valve and it's draining nicely. So now I'm going to take the fill cap off so that it has less air restriction. So I have the front end on ramps, and this has the drain plug towards the front of the pan. If you've not seen my video on how much oil is left in a Miata when you change the oil just jacking up the front end, here is a link to it. I'll also put one in the description. And so now I'm going to raise the back end up so that more oil will come out. Do you have to do this? No, you don't. Just be aware there is some oil left over in the pan, and there'll be some in the engine, so don't think that it's like gonna majorly contaminate the new oil. But I want to get as much out as I can reasonably. So this pan has this piece that sticks out, which is unfortunate for this, because that hits, but if I turn it high enough, it clears. And that is supposed to be the sweet spot right there. So kind of play with it and make sure you get it just right. It's going to want to come down a little when you're tightening it. There is a torque spec. Follow the torque spec. All right, so with that in place, hopefully it won't leak. Hopefully it feels tight. To open it, push up, bump that over. That holds it open. Close. Put it back like so. And there is this little blue piece that will dropping the water in the oil that goes in there to lock it closed. Now I'm gonna fish that out of the oil. So now we got to check for interference. So with this wiped off, I have my clearance putty, otherwise known as Play-Doh. Okay. Okay. So you can tell, I'm hoping you can tell, it did hit. Okay, it's got plenty of clearance, guys. Plenty of clearance. Also, after you've done this, when you put the plate back on, listen for rattles. If you hear rattling, then that's probably what's rattling. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to go ahead and fill it up with oil, and I'm going to run it, make sure this thing isn't going to leak. And I still got to fish that clip out of the oil. Oh, change the oil filter. I'll put a link to the filter wrench that I use in the description. Actually, here's a link to a video on it. Use gloves if you wish. Try not to drop the filter. See, I figured it. Ah, it's slippery. I'm just gonna set it in there. So the filter that I'm using is the Mazda filter. I'm not gonna get into a debate on what's the best filter. I'm gonna use the Mazda filter and call it a day. So what I take and pour a little bit of oil in it so that it soaks into the filtering material. And I'm gonna put a little more in there. You don't want to put too much because you don't want it to spill out and make a bigger mess. I hate these royal purple, these new royal purple bottles. They pour horribly. I'd almost switch to the Pennzoil because of the bottle. Mazda filters, they come with this on them, and that is a lubricant already on the seal, so you don't have to. If it didn't have this on there, you would take some oil and just smear around the seal. That's to keep the seal from sticking when you put it on. So make sure that this is nice and clean. Verify it doesn't have a seal from the old filter on it. Put your new filter on and tighten to the specifications for your filter. Here's a tip. So this is my oil cap. I put it right here across where the rod that holds up the hood goes, because this way I won't forget to put it back on. So normally I'd put the pan back on already, but I want to check for leaks. I recommend putting in about 3.5 quarts. Then you want to drive it off of the ramps, in my case, because I'm on ramps. That's why I have to drive it off the ramps. If you're on jack stands, just take it off the jack stands so you can check the level, because you want the car to be pretty level when you check it, and you don't want to overfill it, because remember what I said, some stays in the engine. So if I just put 4 quarts in, I'm probably going to overfill it. Maybe you can see that. It's just over low, but not to high yet. Almost done. So the bottom plate is back on. There were no leaks. Bottom plate's on. I pushed up on it. I don't hear it hitting the valve, so should be good. When I start it, I want to listen for any sort of rattling, and I'm gonna back it off here before I top it off. It's already above low, so we're fine. I'm gonna back it off the ramps so it's level, and that's when I'll top it off. And always look under the car for leaks after you've changed your oil. So one other tip, make sure you record, keep a log book on all the maintenance that you do on your car. Date, mileage, you change the oil, what oil you use, what filter you use, document everything. You'll be glad you did when you go to sell it. Hope that was helpful. If so, please like, subscribe, comment, donate, and good luck with yours.